Imagine waking up to a live cheetah roaming your backyard or a loaded gun in your child's hands. This is not clickbait, but a real-time mystery. Things found in people's backyards, like a real safe and craziest of all, a huge object that a farmer found in his backyard and was amazed by its identity. Welcome to a new video. These are the 11 strangest things found in backyards. If you like this type of content, subscribe to our channel, it's free. Now let's get started. Number 11. A Roman villa. Before you scream, let's explain what this Wilshire man dug up in his backyard. If this man had never thought about converting an old barn for his son to play ping pong, we wouldn't be talking about this incredible discovery. Luke Irwin is a Wilshire rug designer who has been living in his home for years and is only known to a few people, but in 2016, he made headlines when workers made a discovery while stringing wires for a game of ping pong. All they knew was that there were almost perfectly preserved mosaics in the garden. Everything became clear after Luke called the Archaeology and History Service in Wiltshire, England. The group went to have a look and discovered that Luke and his family had been living with the largest Roman villa in Britain at the bottom of their garden. It was discovered that there was once a gigantic Roman villa in that garden more than 1,000 years ago. It is believed that the villa was built around 175 AD, c. and 220 AD, c. and was occupied until the end of the 4th century. According to experts, it was 3 stories high with 2 courtyards made of elegant materials, indicating that a very rich and influential family once resided there. Mind-boggling, but that's not all. At the site, there were Roman coins, animal bones, brooches, and, surprisingly, a child's coffin that Luke had been using as a flower pot. That's totally creepy. But as they say, ignorance is bliss. Number 10. A hoard of gold coins. One question: what would you do if you discovered a hoard of gold coins? You'll probably live the life of your dreams for a while if you make this discovery, but unfortunately, it's not your backyard. The discovery site belongs to a Northern California couple who prefer to be identified as John and Mary. Walking their dog on their property in 2014, they found the largest and most valuable hoard of gold coins ever unearthed in the United States. Surprisingly, this discovery was made on the same path they had walked 100 times with their dog, but that day their eyes focused their attention on the rusty top of a metal can protruding from the eroded ground. Out of curiosity, they took the can out, took it home, and opened it. To their biggest surprise, they found a lot of dirt and a stack of $20 Liberty Head gold coins from the 1890s. Wait, what would you have done? Returning to the site to dig some more, that's exactly what John and Mary did. And guess what? They immediately found another can. And crazy, that's not all, they found 5 smaller cans and 1 more can that was detected according to a metal detector. In total, the 8 cans contained 1,427 gold coins. Precisely 1,373 of these coins were $20 coins. 50 were $10 coins, and 4 were $5 coins. They were found stacked in chronological order and dating between 1847 and 1894. This arrangement of the coins and the different conditions of the cans suggest that they were intentionally buried by someone. Most likely only that person knows about the coins, considering how long they have been there. We are talking about coins with a total value of $27,980. That is enough to make anyone panic, as did John and Mary. The two initially buried the treasure and called in coin dealer Don Kagan and numismatic expert David McCarthy of Kagan Incorporated to examine the hoard. And what they found is nothing short of everything that has made your heart race. But even more exciting is that one of the coins is worth approximately $1 million on its own. The little wonder made John and Mary hide their identities. And if this discovery got you into your backyard digging for treasure, be warned that what's coming will make you take precautions. Number 9. A crocodile in a pool. Someone found an alligator in the pool. If your backyard has a pool, you might want to double check before you jump in. In 2023, this Plantation Key resident was wandering around his backyard when he came across a 10-foot alligator in his pool, reportedly immediately calling a wildlife control expert, Todd Hardwick, to remove the reptile. Hardwick, who has over 40 years of experience in this field, did not find the experience at all funny. It began with a mini crocodile battle, with the reptile splashing around in the water, trying to overpower Hardwick, the process leading to a slippery pool deck, which turned an already dangerous task into an even more terrifying one. Finally, Hardwick was able to remove the crocodile and put it under control with tape and rope. Just as you may have guessed, the crocodile was returned to its natural habitat. But that resident learned the importance of erecting a fence, an experience I would never forget. Number 8. A whale fossil. This discovery was due to the curiosity of a 16-year-old girl known as Lindsay Stallworth, who was always digging up things on her family's property. The young woman had discovered a fossil, but in 2023 she decided to do some research with her biology teacher, Andrew Gentry. That day, they were digging to find shark teeth, but while they were digging, they found larger bones and finally a piece of the lower jaw. At first, they didn't realize what it was until they found a huge tooth that looked like it belonged to a whale. Upon closer inspection, they realized it belonged to a prehistoric whale approximately 4 to 5 feet long. During an interview with Lindsay, it became clear that she had been collecting fossils on her family's land for a long time before this discovery. Lindsay had been pretty quiet about her other discoveries because she thought no one could explain them. But thanks to her teacher, who relied on data from the U.S. Geological Survey, she now knows that they found the remains of a 34-million-year-old whale. The remains of the whale reportedly suggest it could be a smaller relative of the Basilosaurus size. Potentially, this whale could be between 15 and 20 feet long. It lived off the coast of Alabama, approximately 34 to 40 million years ago, and this has further increased the importance of Lindsay and Gentry's discovery. However, they believed that if they continued digging, they would find the complete skeleton of the whale, but doing so would take several years. You may have to keep an eye out for updates on this discovery. It's an impressive find by a young girl, but the next discovery for kids could literally take your breath away. Number 7. A loaded gun. A 5-year-old boy discovered a loaded gun in Huntersville. No matter how scared you are right now, it's nothing compared to how Mike Haga felt that day. His heart must have skipped 8 beats at once, seeing his son with a gun, but his fear must have tripled after realizing the gun was even loaded. Calmly, Haga told her son to drop the gun on the ground as she gently walked towards him. After he took the gun from his son, he later discovered that the gun was not only loaded, but also unlocked. Certainly, if the boy had taken the gun wrong, we can only imagine how bad things would have gone. As a father concerned for his family's safety, unloaded the gun and then called the police. According to police, the gun was reported stolen in Charlotte and may have been used in Huntersville a few months before the discovery. It appears that firearm theft is the new normal in Charlotte, as hundreds of firearms have been reported stolen. Many have been taken from vehicles during burglaries and some of houses. In our opinion, the 5-year-old boy is the hero of our story for telling an adult about his unusual discovery. Of course, it is good to tell someone about a discovery of this magnitude. Number 6. Cursed cash. These bills supposedly killed people and were discovered in a man's backyard. But before we mourn the dead, let's go back to how it all started. In August 2011, Savage, an unemployed carpenter, went to his backyard to pick broccoli for dinner. There he found 2 nylon bags. He picked them up, opened them, and discovered that they contained funds wrapped in plastic. What did Savage do? The next thing that may surprise you is that he took these bags of money to the police and reported his discovery. For an unemployed man like Savage, you have to agree that it was unexpected. When asked why he didn't keep the money, he mentioned that he was afraid the owner might come back for it. Shortly after reporting his discovery, the owner of a liquor store demanded the money. The store owner said his money was taken during an armed robbery, but he soon withdrew his statement. However, no one knows why he did that. The most shocking claim came from Savage's neighbor, Dolores Johnson, who said he kept the money there on purpose. According to Johnson, he kept the money outside Savage's backyard because it was cursed cash. Doesn't that make you wonder why he claimed ownership? Johnson's daughter said her mother suffered from dementia and knew about the money. He even mentioned how they counted the money together and was able to give details about the discovery. Shortly after these claims, Johnson died, leading people to believe that the cash was actually cursed. Authorities determined that within a year, if no one identified themselves as the owner of the cash, Savage could claim it. Savage then got a lawyer to help him with the case, but unfortunately died before the deal was closed. Savage's death further cemented people's belief about the mysterious cash, and eventually the money was shared between Johnson's son and Johnson's daughter. But since then, nothing terrifying has been reported. You have to accept that it is a terrifying discovery, but definitely not as scary as the next one. Number 5. A cheetah in the backyard. It sounds like a joke, and that's what Julianne thought when her son Toby got the biggest surprise of his life. Because 9-year-old Toby was sweating profusely, Julie had to look out the kitchen window and see a cheetah attacking her son's bike. Now let's back up a little. Toby was in the backyard of his house, playing with his bike, when he suddenly saw a cheetah. The 6-foot-long cheetah was standing about 15 feet away from him. But he knew it was better to leave his bike and run away. Once the 66-pound cheetah made it to Toby's bike, it sat there, biting off chunks of the couch and tearing up the tires with its claws. Once Julie realized she had a real cheetah in her backyard, she called the police, who came with the zookeepers. The cheetah apparently escaped from a nearby animal sanctuary because its electric fence was defective. According to zookeepers, the cheetah is named Aya, and has been at the sanctuary since she was a baby. But Aya seemed to love the open space more, and was reluctant to return home as she tried to bite and scratch keepers who were trying to put a harness on her. In the end, Aya was brought back home, but Toby has not recovered from the traumatic experience to this day. We have an idea of what you would do if you were Toby. Number 4. A treasure box. This discovery has a history. It will be titled The Ninja Thief and the Stolen Treasure of Staten Island. But this story begins with the owner of the backyard, Matthew Emanuel. In 2014, Emanuel moved with his family to their home in the Tot Hill neighborhood, and after a while they discovered a rusty metal box at the edge of the property, but paid no attention to it. In the spring of 2018, disturbingly hungry deer ravaged the house's vegetation, and seeking more privacy, Emanuel called a horticulturist known as Bamboo Bob to help them plant bamboo in the garden. When Bob arrived and started working, he was surprisingly tied to the rusty metal box. He looked closer at the 2-foot wide and 1.5-foot deep box, and all he saw was dirt. Out of curiosity, he asked Emanuel about the box, who said it was just an old electrical box. But this box didn't look like an electrical box to Bob. This made Bob dig it in the ground, turn it over, and realize it had a diamond in it, at which point everyone realized it was a locked safe. The safe was weighed around 80 to 100 pounds, which indicated it had something inside. At least they opened it with a pickaxe, and the first thing they saw were piles of wet cash stuck together. As they looked further, they discovered small bags of gold rings, diamonds, earrings, and other jewelry. Emanuel found that disturbing, but he didn't call the police. He took his time separating some of the bills and counted them. They totaled about $16,000 in cash, mostly $100 bills with some $50 bills. While taking out the cash, Emanuel discovered an item with an address. He looked up the address online and voila! It was linked to one of the houses in his neighborhood. Emanuel went to the house and asked them if they had ever been robbed. As expected, the family responded that they were robbed by the so-called ninja thief in 2011. You see, the ninja thief was a prolific masked thief who preyed in Todd Hill and other neighborhoods when a rapist named Robert Costanzo was arrested in 2016 and confessed that he was the notorious ninja thief. However, the statute of limitations had run out on many of the cases at the time of his arrest, so he was charged with only 3 counts of robbery and was ultimately found guilty and sentenced to 22 years in prison. The family that lost their treasure chest got it back, but it is unclear what Emmanuel got in return for his fidelity. Number 3. A submarine. A Russian farmer found a huge object in his backyard and was shocked by its identity. One thing everyone knows is that it is a submarine, but what has baffled everyone is where the submarine was found. For those who don't know, a submarine is used by the military and scientists to travel underwater. The military uses submarines to patrol ocean waters and attack enemy ships during a war. For starters, this man is a farmer, so he has nothing to do with a submarine. There has been a number of speculations about this image. Some believe it is a hoax, and some believe it is a prop, while others believe it is an advertisement. What do you think of this image? Let us know in the comments section. Next on our list of mysterious discoveries in people's backyards that will take your breath away. Number 2. Human remains. Something you wouldn't expect to find in your backyard are human remains. While Ali was digging a trout pond in his father's backyard, he came across this unpleasant surprise. The 14-year-old boy was scared at first, thinking that someone must have committed a crime and hid it in his father's house. Ali called his father and neighbors to see what he had discovered, and together they agreed to call the police. Soon his house received several experts and police who spent the day removing the remains. After the examination, the experts confirmed that the remains belonged to a person who lived a millennium ago. Although they could not tell his age, gender, or identity, they determined that he was an American Indian. Further testing is reportedly underway to learn more about the remains, but for now, let's look at this next discovery. Number 1. Meteorites. We've seen a lot on this list, and meteorites are just another one. But this isn't just your usual meteorite story. It's about a guy named Logic who claims that aliens are after him. Here is the story. In 2007, Logic claimed that a meteorite hit his house for the first time. Sure, it was a big deal, until a second meteorite hit his house for the second time. At that time, he still didn't feel like there was a problem until more meteorites hit his house before the end of the year. In total, 4 meteorites hit his house in 2007. This time, Logic had confirmed that this only happens when it rains, but he still wasn't sure why it was happening to him. In 2008, the 5th meteorite fell on their house, and again it happened when it was raining. He described crying because of the terrifying experience he was experiencing. He believed that the aliens were angry with him, although scientists confirmed that all the rocks are meteorites. They could not explain how such a rare event could happen to the same person 6 times. Many people did not believe Logic, but when they saw him reinforcing his roof, many believed that in fact he was having a difficult time because of the aliens. The truth is that it is difficult to believe this story. We come to the end of this video. Tell us your opinion in the comments box. If you liked the video, give it a like, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell so you don't miss future videos like this one. See you next time!